Hey guys, what's up? It's Dean with Manful Yoga, and this is the second episode of the weightlifting series. So, last week is arbitrary because maybe you didn't view this last week, but previously I released a episode about weightlifting, and this was really my own personal experience with weightlifting and kind of traced my start of fitness into yoga from there, and then why I started weightlifting again about a week ago. I've gotten through 4 workouts so far. And so today I want to talk about weightlifting, muscle gain, and yoga, and how they all kind of fit in together. So the best way to build muscle is by using resistance training. Let me say that again. The best way to build muscle is through resistance training, using weights, using cables, using even body weight resistance. You have to build muscle through some sort of resistance training. So the benefit of weights versus body weight is that you can adjust first of all, you can adjust the weight so you can pick a setting that works for you. So not everyone can do a pull-up, right? Not everyone can do a full pull-up. A pull-up is really hard. So starting off with a lat pull down with 30 pounds like this, so you can get the proper technique, is essential if you want to do proper pull-ups. So it's kind of a misnomer, not a misnomer, but it's kind of inaccurate to say that it's a lot easier to do exercises with just body weight than it is with weights, because sometimes it's a lot easier to do exercises with just weights as opposed to body weight. Doing push-ups can be really hard. So starting out with maybe 15-pound dumbbells instead of doing full body push-ups is a lot easier. Or if you can't do a handstand push-up, maybe starting with military press like this. If you can't do a full pull-up, starting with again like 30 pounds on the lat pull down. So the benefit of weightlifting, first off, is that you can adjust the weight and make it appropriate for you so that you can build muscle. You can challenge your muscle with the right amount, get to the point of failure, and then say, all right, that was it. I did my best, and now because my muscles have reached failure, they will get stronger, my muscles will grow. That's how it happens. But with just body weight, you only have one setting. So that means that you either have to up your reps or you have to do eccentric motions, which means, if you're doing a push-up, that means just going down like this without pushing back up. Or if you're doing a pull-up, that just means from the top of the pull-up, releasing down all the way to the bottom, but not going through the full motion because you don't have the full strength yet. The second reason why, and then the second difference between weightlifting and body weight is that you can really pinpoint the muscles that you want to get with weightlifting. So if I want to do something as specific as scapular stability with a weight, I can do an exercise where I'm lifting a weight like this, even if it's just 5 pounds. I can't do that with my body weight. I can't isolate specific muscle groups that effectively with just using my body. The benefit of using your body is that you do full body movements, right? You're doing a push-up, you're integrating your core with your arms, your chest, your back, and your legs. You're doing a handstand, you're integrating your upper body strength with your core and your legs. If you're doing a pull-up, you're integrating your shoulder strength with your back strength with your core strength, right? So body weight is full body movement typically, whereas weights can be full body movement or can be isolation. Now, the reason why some people need the isolation is because they need to strengthen those muscles to begin with. We don't have the ability that we used to, let's say, tens of thousands of years ago when we were out in the wild and running around and doing paleo things, because we do this, right? We sit on couches. We drive, and then we go work out for an hour. And then we expect to be as strong as we were. We expect to be able to do handstands and stuff that you see other people on Instagram doing. That's not how it works. So weights are effective because they can help train your muscles to do what they're supposed to do. You can, kind of put the puzzle, you can select different pieces of the puzzle and work on those different areas to contribute to overall strength, like putting your body together. So if weights are the best way to build muscle, why is yoga important? I'm glad you asked. Yoga is important because yoga teaches you to integrate everything together. Weights are fun because you're pushing, you're moving resistance, you're challenging your muscles, but with weights you're usually in somewhat of a supported position. Maybe you're sitting on a bench, maybe if you're doing Olympic lifts like a squat or a hang clean or a power clean, then yeah, that's not a supported position, that's great. But with a lot of the other exercises that you're doing with weights, a bicep curl, a tricep extension, a bench press, you're not integrating your muscles together, and you're also not working on flexibility. On top of that, you're also not working on basic movement patterns or focusing on basic movement patterns without any weight at all. So in order to build a base of range of motion and a base of strength, the first step is being able to do things without weight, right? So being able to do a squat without weight, or being able to move your body in a certain way without weight. So if I want to do an overhead press, for example, which is a somewhat difficult movement if you don't have the shoulder flexibility, this is just an overhead press, just pressing straight up like this, also called a military press. That can be very difficult if I don't have the range of motion. If I can't reach my arm overhead straight up like this without arching my back like this, right? When I do this, now it shifts to my chest instead of my back. So if I don't have the range of motion, I can't do a proper military press. This is number one reason why yoga is important, because it focuses on flexibility, it focuses on range of motion. And before you do anything on top of range of motion, you must have that existing range of motion. If you are doing bench press over and over again and you can't get to the point where you can bring your hands in like this, or you can't, let's see here, if you can't reach up, or if you can't do a bench press, right? If you can't go through the motion of a bench press, then you're not going to be able to do a bench press with weight. So yoga, first off, gives you the range of motion that you need to be able to do these exercises. Number two, strengthening is one part of your fitness, right? Building strength is just one part of your fitness, but we also need to be able to, flexibility, like I mentioned, is important before. We also need to be able to control our bodies without weight. So yoga teaches you to control your body without weight. It teaches you to notice things in your body, to slow down, to check in with your muscles, to check in with what your various parts of your body are doing in the workouts, so that you can apply those essential movements into weightlifting. That flexibility is huge, by the way. Number three, we've got core strength. So weights are, if you're doing weightlifting correctly, you will integrate core strength into it, but not as much as if you're just doing body weight exercises. If you're just doing things like a boat pose, if you're doing specific ab work on the ground, I would argue that in order to have supreme core strength or superior core strength, you need to be able to control things with your body first, and to be able to have lower back flexibility and the ability to engage your lower abdomen and properly work your core in essential movements before you can build strength on top of that. Balance is also huge. Could you do balance with weights? Absolutely. Do you need to? No, you don't need weights to work on balance. So there are a lot of things that are going into yoga that you're not going to get out of weightlifting. You're not going to get flexibility out of weightlifting. Weightlifting will restrict your flexibility. You're not going to get a ton of core strength out of
weightlifting because that's just not the focus typically. With yoga, you are focusing on core strength. You're focusing on integration of your core with your total body movements. Yoga is teaching you the essential movements that you need to apply to all your other forms of physical fitness. So I would argue that yoga is your basic essential movement patterns, and that you can stack other types of fitness on top of that. You have your basic level of fitness, yoga, ability to move through range of motion, ability to control your body, ability to hold up your own body weight in certain positions. And then stacked on top of that, once you have the proper movement patterns, once you understand how your core, how your body is supposed to move in basic movement patterns, now you can stack more difficult or more complicated or more strength-focused movements, things that require, there are things that are utilizing an external load or resistance. Now you can integrate that into your training because you have the ability, you have the understanding of how your body works. But if you were to go straight into the resistance training without that ability to move your body properly, without weights, without an external force, you're making it really hard for yourself. So this was my experience. I did weightlifting for 5 years before I started, 6 years maybe, before I started working out, before I started doing yoga. And what I had to do, I had to relearn everything. I had to relearn core engagement. I thought core was just flexing your core and doing crunches. It's not. I thought that bench press was just making sure that you're pushing upright. It's not. There's scapular stability involved. You need to have strength in your spine to be able to do a proper bench press. I thought pull-ups was just pulling up and coming back down. Oh, scapular stability involved in that too. So you need to learn the basic essential movements before you move into resistance training. And yoga is that base. It will keep you honest. Doing yoga consistently will help you take those basic movement patterns into your fitness. But if you don't do it on a regular basis, you're not going to, or your body's not going to remember it. You're also not going to be working on balance while you're doing weights. You're not going to be working on flexibility while you're doing weights. And the more flexible you are, the stronger you are. As your flexibility base grows, your ability to generate power grows as well. So the two complement one another perfectly. So I guess that's all I really wanted to say with weights today, and why that's so and why we need yoga in addition to weights. Muscles are good, right? We want strength, but we also need to take care of our body. There's things that we need to do to help maintain our body, keep our joints happy, keep the muscles supple and long and flexible, and yoga can help with that. So, oh yeah, I thought I should mention this. This is interesting though, but out of our members, of the members area, 75% of you, 75, 3 out of 4 of you do weightlifting in addition to yoga. So I just wanted you guys to know that if you feel like you're in a community where people aren't lifting weights, they are. And if you feel like you're turned off by weights and you don't want to do them, that's fine. You don't need to do them. But there are some things that in yoga that are not covered by weights. And we've gone over that before, right? The pulling motions, pull downs, because you're not doing any of this with just your body weight in yoga. So my point is not that you need yoga or you need weightlifting and one or the other. My point is that in order to be as healthy as possible, you want to be doing as much as possible with your body as you can, doing different exercises, doing different workouts. And I think that yoga and weightlifting go hand in hand in reaching your optimal performance. So thanks for watching this. This was the 2nd episode of the weightlifting series. There will be more in the future as questions arise and as I think. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys around. Take care.